Greetings and welcome. My name is Michael Miller, and this is a Michael Miller trademark training video out to you because you're watching. Thank you and welcome. It's meant for Michael Miller Pilates licensed affiliates, licensed presenters, the Core New Core, and anyone interested in surviving and thriving as a Pilates instructor, student, or a human being. So that's Rodin. And this is Einstein. And this is Rodin again. Knowing and feeling. So I'm in the... Gosh. All right. Welcome. I'm in the midst of packing. And tomorrow, June 30th, is part of a mantra I've been asking Google for the last 4 years. How many days since June 30th, 2016? Because it was on July 1st that I said no to what was up until then and started something new. And that new was doing my intermediate reformer workout, taking notes, and on weekdays coming here to broadcast to you. The notes I take usually come out in different titles, and I have two today. The first one is T-shirts, theories, and takeaways. And the second is headrest on the reformer. So you recognize my teaching style if you've already seen me before much, in that you let the information go by and it fades out of view like a carousel in motion. But you observe what you can on the way by, and my job is to point out, I think my job is, to point out what's going by on the carousel, to help you absorb what there is to absorb from at least the point of view that I have to offer you. And so, we just went through the solstice, where the earth changed orientation in its path, in its journey. And every email of this year's group was a t-shirt, like a different color t-shirt, to make it a point about what color do you want, because it's really not an issue of whether or not you want to wear the brand, because of how distinctive that brand is, even if you don't know what it means. So I thank everyone, all of you, for ordering t-shirts. I hope you like the color and it came in a good size for you, and that you can always order another one. I need kids sizes, kids t-shirts, because several of you in my audience have kids growing up, and there's no reason why the image of core new tension that points to the biomechanics of the way the body engages itself to move through space. So in those 4 years, everything that I've wanted to try to share of value of from my point of view as a teacher and an instructor, right? Has consolidated into the 2 theories. So I started out with t-shirts. The t-shirts to me represent, about 2 theories. One biomechanical and one a point of view of Pilates. It's as simple as that. And that was the second pass on the information that's going by that I want you to look at as your instructor, because that's what you're paying me for. You're paying me to be Yoda and tell you to dive into your cave of your own sensations to where you can distinguish and take a greater degree of control in how you're moving. The takeaways are that both of the theories, both CT and MMP, both those theories are sensational. You can feel they're a theory. There's a lot going on in the gray matter in terms of pointing that out and being willing to embrace the engagement to discover its presence. And then see, once you're aware of and able to engage in core new tension on your own, you don't need anybody else. And the best thing about it is that it makes alignment sensational to you. Not by looking in a mirror, but by feeling it from the inside out, by being able to make tension on your body, on your spine. And in Michael Miller Pilates, just one point of view, you make rotations at different parts of your body, and those oppositional rotations expand or push each other away from the other. It's eccentric. It goes like this. So the takeaways are that you can feel both core new tension, which is oppositional rotation between axes, and then the other theory is about a point of view of Pilates that starts with the assumption that Pilates is an experience. And then it seeks to explain the experience. And it goes right to Joe. Contrology is complete coordination of body, mind, and spirit. Now, you can make whatever you want to out of Joe's words. I'm just talking now about one point of view that says that looks at Joe's definition as coordinating 3 capacities within us as human beings. Our being, our moving, because you're moving when you're doing Pilates. Our thinking, both in terms of aiming for the control that we're after by trying to make ideal movements, but also necessarily listening to what's coming in through our own sensation, the feedback loop of what's coming in off of our own moving, and the thinking coordinating with that, with our senses, to enhance our effort in the performance by depth and degree and quality and duration. So I travel with a toy bag that now maybe has too many books in it, because it's got the books that I'm used to referring to right here next to me. And then in trying to organize all of my toys, I ended up with bags of things, and really didn't even end up with enough bags. And so one of my first toys is this plumb bob, and it's safer in the package than hanging down loose. I say that, and then I hear you say, yeah, but you brought it out, and I want to see it in its demonstrative glory. So, this now, without the wrapping, fits into the plastic bag it would tear apart. See how it's, right? But what is this representative of? Gravity, right? Gravity. Gravity works down through this string, and a plumb bob is meant to point directly to, through the weight. Why the weight? Because of gravity, right? But this is a way of lining up in gravity. When you... Alright, hold on. So, in that group of toys, there are tops. Right? I'm not in a position where I can spin them for you. Tops. All kinds of tops. Ones with smiley faces. Ones that have gears, a pull string, so that you can pull on the gear of the top and pull it harder. And wooden tops that spun right, turn upside down and turn over. And then all of that is pointing to what, right? It's pointing to the physics in which we live. So there's not only gravity, right? But there's rotation. And so I'm sure there are other tops that will show up as I get more organized. And of course, my famous top that has a pen at the bottom of it, and when you rotate it, it goes one way until the outside edge lands, and then it turns around going the other way. And for me, that was around the aha moment time when I realized that our bodies were not shoulders and hips like a scroll. Our bodies were hips going one way and shoulders going the other. And the physics going on, to me at least, is indicated by how that rotational drawing reverses. Alright, so there's another one in here that should be here. I had a steel ball that should go in here. And then is that really the best one next? How do I start the class? How do I start the class? With striking 3 bowls. D sharp, G sharp, and 5 C sharp. Sounds. And then this worked really great for coming into a really large group. That are in a lot of different conversations. And then that's a Christmas ornament actually from 1878? No, must be 1978. Noisemakers. Noisemakers. Things that make noise. A little survival whistle that only has one flute, but still piercing as it's meant to be. And then a cricket. Right? Now, what is in this bag? What's the theme of this bag? So you can see springs, right? And all kinds of springs. Look at that big fat one in there. And then little plastic thingies that have to have a spring in them, right? So, tension. Tension. Now, I'm just amazed that knowing how your body works isn't more fascinating. Because it's through having a spine, those are supposed to be vertebrae, right? And your ability to do this. Well, your ability to do this is coming from where? It's coming from where? Is it coming from here, where you're just squeezing in the middle? Is it just pulling your stomach in and having a thin waist? That's not how your body works. Your body has rotational dynamics, and in making those rotational dynamics, it can make a grip. And in making the grip itself, this happens. So whether it's between here and here, or here and here, less so because it's all bones on the way down, but still endpoints of tension. So, alright. I know, I thought it was going to be much shorter. If you're going to pay attention to what Joe said, contrology develops the body uniformly, and you're aiming for whole body, then it's through creating tension between 2 points that distributes the load most evenly, most uniformly, and from the tension between the points, you get a sensation of alignment between those 2 points. So you see that this is a bow, right? That's a bow. When you get the ability to engage your core like a grip, and I just can't believe it's 2020 and most of the world doesn't even want to think so specifically, and pretend that in MMP it's a grip. It's an involution of muscularity that has a rotational dynamic in it. And when you are able to make that grip, it's like connecting one end of a bow. And then when you're able to come up and connect the rotational dynamic at your shoulders, it's easy to roll your shoulders back, and it takes more control to have your rib cage pull down through your transverse transverse abdominis, fly TVA. You ever heard that? Fly TVA? Tension. Tension. And that's what makes coronary tension sensational. Now, speaking of sensational, what is this? I mean, it's filled with like beanbag material, and it doesn't open or anything, it's just sewn into that shape. Well, that shape goes for a client somewhere in here, so that when you ask a person to rotate their hips and tuck under, they find something sensational instead of just air. It's the whole reason why the spine corrector is called the spine corrector. It corrects the spine because the hump rises up to make contact with the lower back, to allow you to find and develop a grip that allows you to be open at your back, to correct your spine, and not to be hung out in a locked forward position, to use broad general terms. So this is a teaching aid more in terms of in-person. I've got a whole stack over there. It's interesting when you pack. Tension, tension. The t-shirt shows you have knowledge. The theories, knowledge of two theories, and that the takeaways on the two theories are both pointing to things that you can feel. I had a bag for funnels too, right? And I hold up the funnels in different sizes. Each of us is a funnel, and we can only process so much so fast. And so, as an instructor, you'd like to just do a Vulcan mind meld and have it all translate in a moment, but you can't, and it takes time, and it takes passage and repetition of exposure to develop the ability to dive in when you're going after your movement, when you want to be doing Pilates. So my second title today, my last title today, is Headrest on the Reformer. Why is there a headrest built in? That's the good question. Why is it built in? Because so many people are oriented forward in their posture that having an adjustable rest for your head is so handy. It's the way they've been built forever. Okay. Now, I don't know lately. My point is, though, that if you only let the headrest be where you are, you don't have a chance to let your head find alignment with your trunk, flat on your back. And so, as you progress, your target is to be horizontal. Just in terms of at rest, or when you're supposed to be lying all the way down. And that's 3 points on a straight line in the horizontal plane. Okay? Kenny Endelman came out with a reformer that went negative to the platform of the reformer. And see, if you're really looking for 3 points on a line, that's one of the only places where I could, well, there's a lot of others I'm sure I'm unaware of. But in terms of idealizing movement, when you do shoulder bridge, or bottom lift, whatever you call it, on the reformer, your hips are up. And so your hips and shoulders are 2 points. But if your head isn't allowed to go negative, you don't get to reach for a position with your hips up and 3 points on a line instead of only 2. So know what you're aiming for, and in that whole image of, so where'd my bow and arrow go? Here. To make this work, you have to be able to attach it at 2 different points. At 2 different points. Right? And when you make tension, you can utilize that tension. The engaging of the tension itself is a quest for a uniform engagement of the musculature. It's the body seeking its own in space. Maybe more than the body, but you know. All right. So life can't live forever. Read between the lines and see behind the curtain. Connect the dots. Evaluate points of view. So over this 4 years, it's come down to me just wanting to share with you how important it is, or how valuable it is, to have knowledge of core new tension and the Michael Miller-Pilates point of view. The takeaway is that they are both experiential. What could be better than sharing stuff to know that you can feel? Never thought I'd have this long to synthesize it down to this as to what matters most to me about your takeaways from your exposure to me. Life can't live forever. Read between the lines, see behind the curtain, connect the dots, evaluate points of view. Using making an offer as part of the way you help people understand what you have to share of value. Direct your thinking. Geist.